Better on Draft fans, we truly appreciate you joining us each and every week as we go over the news and interview someone from the industry. If you subscribe to us on iTunes, please leave us a rating and review it. Helps us get our word out. Also, take this time to go to our Facebook and like it. Check out the daily lulls for lunch that Matt posts. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The name for all three is Better on Draft. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for video of every episode, youtube.com/betterondraft, as well as check out our Untapped page for what we drank each and every Friday night under the name Bod Podcast. Also, you can watch us live and chat with us while we are live at twitch.tv/Bod Podcast every Friday from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Eastern. And no matter what you think of our show, we think it's Better on Draft.
The Better on Draft podcast is recorded live in Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, pop that 40 and kick back with your hosts, Dan, Nick, Ken, Rob, Matt, and Angela.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 143. Yes, right. I turned you off. I have everyone off right now. Nobody's on right now. The show is my show. This is Better on Draft. I actually started doing a bunch of looking at older videos and older songs, older podcasts, and I never realized I start with the same inflection every single week, the same saying, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Like it's the exact same thing to where I couldn't differentiate between any episode until I named the episode. So it was this crazy thing of listen. First of all, I hate the sound of my voice.
Oh yeah.
So,
you do?
Oh my God.
I would never have known that.
So as much as you're laughing, a lot of people are like, oh, you have a very nice speaking voice. You have a very nice presenting voice. I'm like, no, I hate my voice. I hate, I don't mind talking. There's a difference. I don't mind talking.
Yeah.
I just don't like the sound of my voice.
I've listened to myself only a handful of times on this show. Downloaded the show. I never listened to the freaking show.
I can't listen to myself.
So I hate myself on the microphone whenever I talk on this freaking show.
Do you guys have a voicemail, a custom voicemail?
I have to for work.
I just have it where it just says my name if you call my work voicemail, and that's it.
Do you leave voicemails?
All the time.
Oh man.
And I hate my voice.
I do.
Especially when I have to do the playback and listen to myself. I'm like, son of a bitch, I suck on this. So it's
I suck on this.
Yeah, I know that sounds really bad.
No, it's just the fact that your play-by-play of how your voicemail went. You're giving yourself notes, coach.
Yeah, I know. Well, interesting story is that me and my fiance had the bridal shower a couple weeks ago, and they had the microphone set up in the little room in the church or whatever. I actually sounded pretty damn good on that microphone. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the system, or I don't know.
I was just complaining today. Nobody leaves voicemails anymore.
Yeah, on your personal cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get these strange calls, and I'm assuming a lot of them are spam because I got a call from LA yesterday telling me they found the drugs in my car and the cops wanted.
Oh, I get those. I get those 2 a day.
I've never had one of the. I was like, excuse me.
And they don't say local authorities. They say local cops. I'm like.
No,
okay.
They specifically said LA. And I was like, I don't even live in that state. And he hung up on me. Oh. He hung up on me. I didn't even get the
it was
pleasure.
an actual person?
Yes.
Oh, because I get the robo ones.
No, he knew my name. Obviously, he had my number.
That's crazy.
And he wanted the drugs in my trunk, which I don't even have a trunk.
Maybe that was a total accident. Someone dialed the wrong number.
Get out of here.
That's not even true.
That's got to that's got to be.
I don't know what he was.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you get in that situation? What would he get from me?
I don't know.
I wanted to keep the conversation going.
Well, so what's going to happen is that they would send you, and I've seen this because there's actually a guy. There's so many videos because when you get into that rabbit hole of YouTube, you see so many weird things. And what they do is they try to get you to go to Walmart or Best Buy or something and buy a $100 iTunes card and then send it to them. and that's how they'll stop harassing you or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm the local authorities. Send me an iTunes
I
card.
know, like, you could at least
Well,
aim a
so
little
they don't
higher.
say local authority. They'll go as far as saying they're the IRS.
Well, the
that you-
IRS. Well,
and that you owe money.
yeah. Well, we all know that the IRS does not call. They send letters.
Yes, I do know that because
I
I
know
went through
that.
a shitty fucking couple years of IRS back and forth where they kept saying I owe more and more money every single
I think
time.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, they said I owed them like $40,000, and I'm like, I didn't even make $40,000 that year.
I guess that's not funny, but it's funny.
The 20-second version. This was when the market crashed and I started doing day trading. So my bank, which was ING Direct at the time, they would only mark the sell and not the buy. So if I bought for 500 a stock and sold for 550, they said I made 550. And mind you, I'm doing a dozen trades a day.
Jeez.
So I made
That's crazy.
They said I made like over $100,000. I'm like, I wish.
I think that's an
I'll
issue,
definitely pay you.
I think that's an issue now for all of the crypto traders.
Probably.
Don't even get me started on that.
Did you buy Bitcoin?
No.
I'm investing all of our fantasy football in Bitcoin this year.
What about that one? Is there like a Kanye West one?
A Kanye coin?
Yeah, Kanye coin.
Probably. There's a bunch of Bitcoins. We have guest guys.
We have two. We have two guests.
That's
for-
guest is plural.
I thought you said guest.
No, we have
We have a
guests.
guest.
We have guest guys. That sounds like a terrible.
Oh, well, I don't know.
We have been
Syntax is
mistaken
something.
for
It's been a long freaking day.
Syntax is something I'm very good
Whatever.
at. So why don't we start with you? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Jay, Hopcat from Royal Oak.
All right.
Hi, thanks for having us. This is Adam. I'm a regional beverage manager for Hopcat.
Welcome to the
Welcome.
show. So Jay, you didn't tell us your position. What do you do?
I am a regional beverage coordinator, so I work with Adam, but I also run the Royal Oak beer program.
Okay. And Adam, do you run the Detroit one, or is that a different position?
Now, each of the sites has a purchaser that runs the beer program.
So each of the sites has their own J.
Right, they have their own J. J also oversees the Michigan sites, so the managers at the Michigan sites, and I oversee everybody. So 17, about to be 17 Hopcats oversee every single one, and all
17.
all
I didn't
things
even
beer
think.
related.
Like I know there was a lot, but I'm trying to think of 17. Thank you, Matt. Hello, nice to see you. We don't
nice,
care.
nice to join us.
Sorry, I just
so
got sideswiped.
did you really?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, I couldn't think of it sooner.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Well,
Oh, Christ.
you're in one piece and you're drinking
That's all that
beer, so
matters.
that's a good start.
You ever have one of those days where you think the universe is against you?
Yes.
I've had one of those days where I just didn't want to wake up. Everything's fucked and everything sucks.
Matt, you
Thanks,
were on
Ross.
top of the world the other day. You got to keep up with that momentum.
I think I borrowed all my happiness from today like 2 days ago, so now I'm in like a happiness debt.
I swear to God, he was going to take over the world.
I still am.
We were watching TMZ the other day. Guy got crashed into. Dude that crashed into him just sat in the car and kept drinking his bottle of vodka. So at least you saved the beer for afterwards.
oh my god.
This time.
All right. So why don't we start with how did you get into like Hopcat? Were you part of a bar before, or did you kind of just show up and you drank there so much that they hired you?
Well, I worked for a chicken chain in Detroit, and we'll call it that. No names.
Was it a big shack out front?
Beer battered chicken.
Beer battered chicken. I don't think we did that, but
Was it a wing company of
It was
sort?
a wing company, a very large wing company.
Okay.
And
Did they have the similar colors scheme?
pretty similar. Yeah. Now that you say that, it's almost the same. And I heard this cool place Hopcat was opening, and
That's
there was
wild.
at that time only 3 stores. So I was like, I gotta hop on this. I love craft beer. I was pretty young, and then I jumped over there as soon as they opened, and the rest is history.
And how long have you been with the company?
About 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
so moved around a couple different states. Was managing as a
It's like a
restaurant
century
manager.
in restaurant time.
It is. It's only my second restaurant too, so I think I'm blessed.
I think you're
Nice.
like the anomaly of restaurant industry
the
employees.
outlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even people who are higher up still hop between, major chain to major chain to major chain. I mean, as much as you're not major chain, like
I was gonna say, do you guys consider? What
I mean,
you guys do?
17 stores is
A
pretty
chain?
big in regards to that's mid almost like it's low to mid level in regards to the restaurant industry. Like anything over 50 is considered basically major.
Yeah, as far as terminology, we just like to call ourselves the anti-chain chain. Each Hopcat looks different, has its own personality and stuff. So there's quite a bit of differentiation between them.
That's actually interesting because I didn't even know that there was one in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
There is.
Yeah, and I'm looking and I'm like, this is way too nice to be a Hopcat that we're so used to seeing like here in Metro Detroit.
Man, they look all different.
You're not lying because they got like the nice patio, the wood patio, and the floral thing going here. I mean, I even have my favorites. We opened one in Lincoln, Nebraska. That had some really cool artwork that they did over all over the walls, black and white paintings, 99 bottles of beer on the wall. That one looks super cool. Has a Prince room, I believe, where they kind of got like a purple color scheme going on in there. Broad Ripple's the one in Indiana. I think that was the third one we opened up. That one's got a lot of wood, a lot of velvet paintings and stuff. Okay.
Just really cool looking there. So yeah, man, they're all different. Just kind of depends on where they're at.
That's pretty cool though. That's really cool.
So do you go to all the brand new Hopcats and help open them and help get them going? Is that?
Yeah, man. That's basically part of my job. So yeah, Jay helps out, in Michigan. So he's actually going to help us open our brand new one, which opens September 8th. There'll be the second location in Grand Rapids. And Grand Rapids is where the original Hopcat is from.
And that's where the brewery is, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Two of them have a brewery, actually. The Grand Rapids original location and Louisville, Kentucky also has a brewery. But yeah, the second Grand Rapids one won't have a brewery there, but still 80 delicious taps.
Do you guys brew the same beer at both locations, or are you guys also independent, like the themes?
Yeah, they're pretty independent. They have a brewmaster. The Grand Rapids location does a little bit more than the Louisville location does. They have a smaller brewing system, but yeah, totally different stuff. Cool thing in Louisville, they did. Man, I'm kind of brain farting on what they called it, but they brewed a beer and put some Powerade in it, some green energy drink or something.
Baja
they
Blast
called
from
it.
the past, maybe.
It was great, man. It turned out like a goza. They threw some salt in it too. It was like really cool.
So do you guys swap recipes or barrels between the two so you can kind of get a taste for Louisville, or?
Nah, legalities won't let you,
Really?
move them around with the licenses that we have. But so, we just travel out there to taste them, But as far as recipes, the guys work together, on tweaking recipes and stuff. So for sure.
So, did we talk about how Hopcat came about yet? Like, where was?
We just introduced them. We were busy talking about a lot of other things, including IRS scams and iTunes gift cards.
And then you crash.
And
Okay.
then you crashed.
I was probably crashing while you were
Crashed
talking
into
about
me.
that.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks, Dave.
Does anybody need a beer?
We actually got
Yeah, what-
one delivered to us.
This is actually
what is this?
This is not a beer. I don't know why I cracked the not
It's a
beer
cider, it
first.
looks
It's,
like?
Sir Lushington from Blake's. So
Oh, okay.
bourbon barrel aged cider with
Bourbon
what
barrel aged
kind of-
cider.
Cherries.
cherries.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't get bourbon.
this
I'm
is
okay with that.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
It's pretty light on the bourbon, just a little oak flavor in there. They actually started making this one for us, so they call it an exclusive. They have it in the Blake's tap room, but otherwise you can only get it at Hopcats.
But how many people are going to want to drive to Armada?
Almost all of them. Yeah, exactly.
I have to tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh,
drive.
you're
to
gonna be
Cider
at Cider Days
I'm
tomorrow?
gonna do cider days.
Oh,
yep.
yeah. I'm sure I'll
It's
find it
actually
somewhere.
It's a great fest.
I've
Have you
heard
been
nothing
before?
but great things.
Yeah.
This is the first year that I'm going. Actually,
It's
I
totally
missed
worth
last year, so should be a good time. I as a child went to Blake's
Sure.
to go to the Orchard, and I think it's really cool that they do hard cider now. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
Couldn't
this.
get drunk back then.
No, could not.
So I have a question. Were either of you in the opening of Detroit's Hopcat, like part of it?
Both of us.
Yeah, both of us.
What? Whose idea was it to bring like 35 variations of Crooked Tree
That was
from Dark Horse?
that
'Cause
was
it's
Dark
like,
Saturday, wasn't?
Yeah, that was an anniversary party that we had like about a year later. That was probably partially our idea and partially Dark Horse's idea. Yeah.
I just don't.
50-50.
we did 140 beers, and I think it gets to a certain point where you run out of great ideas for beer, and that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Dark Horse brought 140.
It was 140, right?
I think it was 130.
Thought it was 131 was the.
Yeah, 131 might have been the official. So, yeah.
Hot damn, I didn't know
what actually happened with that? Maybe a semi-boring story, but possibly quite interesting.
Beer podcast.
So
I make reference to it all the time.
We'll
So
wander down this rabbit hole to see what it takes us. Nobody's listening live, anyways.
So
Besides Ken's mom.
there's
Shout out Ken's mom.
a beer
Hi, Patty.
contraption that Dogfish makes. It's called a Randall. It's like an infusion chamber, right? So you just you put some stuff in it, you run a beer through it, and it turns it into something else. So. We could have been smart and said, hey, Dark Horse, we just want, 130 different beers. But instead we were like, we want 100 different beers, and 30 of them we want to be Dark Horse Crooked Tree, and we're going to run 30 of them through a Randall, and then the logistics of getting all the Randalls together and placing them on the bar.
Kidding.
And
You have that many.
if they would fit and, all that stuff kind of became too much. And eventually we ended up like talking about like, hey, we're going to have to build like this piece around the bar to like house all these Randalls and stuff. And at the end of the day, we were just like, that is too much work. Is there anything else that you can do? And they were like, yeah, cool. We could actually probably just, do some infusions inside the keg. So we went that way, and that's how we wound up with the 30 fruit and different hop variations and stuff of Crooked Tree. And they already do some of them with different hops and, call them different things already. So it wasn't too far off base from what they do. But, dude, that Dark Saturday turned out to be a really good event, though, if you guys missed it. We were, pretty jam-packed, but, 131 beers from the same brewery, pretty cool thing to do. Not too many bars, have the opportunity to pour that many beers. Not that many bars have that many taps, if any,
So prior to really Hopcat coming into the area, there hasn't been a poorhouse like Hopcat in Michigan, like Metro Detroit. Like how did the idea and the concept come up?
Except Brown Iron Brewhouse in Washington Township.
Well, Brown Iron Brewhouse is great, but even 69 taps is still half of what they have over at Hopcat. And the first time I ever went to an actual poorhouse was West 50 in Mississauga. And that was over 100 some odd beers, a lot of imports because it was Canada. So they had a lot of European style beers, not too many Canadian. And I don't think their pricing scheme was very simple. It was like 1 star, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then based on the size. And that was it. There was no deviation from those, 25 price points because it was a yard house too. So obviously you got half yards and yards and stuff. How does
beer?
like
Yards
Yeah.
yards?
But
of
they're
beer.
on the metric system. Wouldn't there be meters of beer?
I mean,
Come on, no, I'm asking the serious geopolitical questions. How dare they do a yard of beer when they don't observe the foot?
It's like CFL, they observe yards, not meters.
Okay, but I take my beer more serious than my.
I mean, they're probably used to, conversions and stuff, so you could probably order a meter of beer and they would just be like, cool, and bring you a yard anyway, Stupid Americans.
they
I'm
just
zoned
round
out
down.
of this conversation.
Bring me a
Yeah,
liter.
probably best.
A liter of beer. A liter of cola.
Okay, Farva.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
So how did you get into Hopcat?
How did I get into Hopcat? I was a bit into the beer industry before I worked for Hopcat. I started at a microbrewery. I bartended for them. They had about 10 to 12 taps. I was there for a couple of years, learned a ton of stuff, volunteered brewing with them a little bit, so kind of learned the process. And also at the time I was really into cocktails, so I wanted to be like a cocktail bartender, fancy giant block of ice, chip your own ice off and make people drinks.
Are you familiar with Portlandia?
I know that show, but not terribly familiar. No, why?
Well, we're gonna share a clip later.
Okay.
Oh jeez.
Well, so yeah, what happened was there was this
Did you watch
bar.
Tom Cruise movies as a kid?
We just watched Cocktails a week ago, man. Oh, good movie. So I wanted this position at a bar that our like umbrella company, it's called Barfly Ventures, owned. And I went there to put in an application, and they weren't open yet. So I was like, well, I'll just go over to Hopcat and put an app in there. And if I happen to land an interview, I'll just tell them that I want to work over it. You know, it's called the Viceroy at the time. It doesn't exist anymore, but I'll just tell them that. And I interviewed with them, and they asked me a little bit about beer, and apparently I knew too much about beer, and so they hired me for Hopcat and would never let me go back to cocktailing, and that was probably the best, mistake that ever happened for me.
Seeing as they went out of business too, right?
Was this in? Did you live in Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Is that a dumb question?
Yeah.
So how long ago did this happen?
I've been with the company about 6 years, so right around then.
What brewery? Do you want to tell us where you worked before?
It's called Cellar Brewing Company now, but it used to be called Michigan Beer Cellar. It's out of Sparta, Michigan. Yeah, little country place. They make some pretty decent, beer though.
Sparta's a big city.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
It's an island, I believe, isn't it?
I mean, I just remember there were 300 soldiers, and they won or lost. No, they lost. They lost.
Yeah, they definitely.
They lost, and they got a movie. What bullshit is that?
300 soldiers. That sounds about the size of Sparta. Yeah, for sure.
Never heard that story.
Never heard that story?
Never heard that story.
No.
So is there a favorite beer that Hopcat has brewed that you guys, for you guys, I guess?
If you're talking about the ones that they actually brew in Grand Rapids, they do a couple special releases every year. One of them, they used to call it Oil Rigger. It's now called Oil Spiller. That's just a Russian Imperial Stout, and they do some variations of it. I believe barrel age it, sometimes or add
Will they do like 31 of them?
Probably not. Eventually we'll have 31 vintages, 31 years of it, but that's about it. But yeah, if you go in there, on a regular basis, they'll have some beers that are like favorites. They do an IPA called Beer Right Meow that's pretty good. They do a Hefeweizen, Tugspitze, which everyone's gonna, call me out for saying because it's actually how you pronounce it. But when you look at it on the menu, everyone just asks for the Zugspitz, But that's long been a favorite at Hopcat. Nice Hefeweizen. Yeah.
What about you? What's your favorite beer outside of Hopcat?
How many people are listening?
Two.
Actively, currently.
Actively, yeah. There's going to be
about
about
Ken's mom and Ken's aunt.
1,500 to 2,000 after.
Beer people, please hear me now. My famous or my favorite beer, is Thomas Hardy's Old Ale. It's an old ale is just like a strong ale, kind of similar to a Scotch ale that you can age for a really long time. Thomas Hardy stopped making it for several years and then started making it again, and something weird happened. It's a European country, and eventually when they started making it again, I found out about it and really wanted to get some, but I don't think it'll land they don't release it for like 3 years after they brew it, actually. But I've tried the beer one time, and it's been my favorite beer that I've ever had. And I've been on this quest to find my birth year vintage, so 1982 Thomas Hardy's Ale. So if anyone out there knows one, I'm still looking.
That's an English ale?
Yeah.
We have an Irish contingent, so can we throw this out to our Emerald Isle people to see if they can find an 82 Thomas Hardy?
Sure.
So
I have beer that I'd be willing to trade for it. Whatever is in my cellar, I'll trade it up.
Speaking of trading, we'll probably take the interview section a little longer than our normal first segment. Did you guys see the ridiculous trades that are going on for drafting tables Malo?
I haven't seen this, no.
So somebody was offering at one point a $350 bottle of bourbon for 5 bottles of this beer.
Did you have the Power Ranger meme on that one?
I sure did.
What's the $350 bottle of bourbon?
But did he really have that, or was it just a joke?
I don't know.
I mean, it was.
If
bourbon,
if we're
wasn't
talking
it?
trade, someone offered up a car. Someone traded.
Wait. Someone offered up a car for a bottle of beer.
It was clearly.
Obviously, it's probably one that can be donated, but
no, it wasn't. It was
it's
like
a
a 2015
joke.
Ford Flex.
The thing is
that's
that
got to be a joke.
Yeah,
heated seats are not interested.
But to say seriously, oh my god.
The thing is that a lot of this beer is creating such a hype that people are trading big named whales just to get this. Beer.
Has anybody tasted it yet?
Nope.
That's cool
Hopcat
though,
guys?
that's
I have
gaining that
not
much
tasted
hype.
it. No,
I haven't either.
we did like 5 or 6 of their barrel aged beers for our open, and they were all fantastic though.
But I guess I don't. maybe it's just me. I don't think any beer is worth
Absolutely
like,
not.
Car?
losing a nut. I was just gonna say like blowing your mind over.
I heard a pretty
does-
crazy trade today. One of our old buyers told me that he just traded a guy 4 Holmes cans or crawlers for a 12-pack or 2 4-packs of CBS, and the guy drove from Toronto to do so.
What?
4 crawlers from Holmes.
So why didn't you just keep going to Ann Arbor?
You would
It was
think.
probably a release, like a timed release. and he
Yeah, it
couldn't
could have
get
been
there at
something like that.
time. So he probably
Honestly, Holmes is my favorite Michigan brewery outside of Urban Rest. Their shit is the most amazing.
My favorite's North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, just south of 8 Mile on Baseline
Where
Road.
you can get ultraviolet?
Ultraviolet, yes, they did rebrew that.
Yeah, is it any good this time?
Delicious alt beer. Fuck you. You weren't even there for the release. I was there drinking in my sorrows watching the Miami Clemson game.
Yeah. Who got the turnover chain? Was it Clemson?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
all right?
okay.
New season, new you. Get it? do you get it, Matt?
Yeah, I got it.
New
New
season, new
Gotcha,
you, because
gotcha.
it's the Miami U.
Oh, jeez.
Puns are strong today.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe I got you from the side. Too soon.
So is anyone gonna like take him up on the trade? Is that gonna happen?
We don't have the bottles. We didn't wait in line at 2 a.m. in the morning for a 100-count
I'm about to say I saw
and I work there.
I saw the chairs, people camping out overnight. I saw.
I mean, it was it was a nice night, so it probably wasn't too crazy to.
No, they probably. I mean, you just sit in line and drink all night.
Yeah,
What about, Ascension did a release today. They did a can today, right?
they did. Ascension, I think they released it in store, and I think it got out a little early at 8 Degrees Detroit, from
I
what
just
I
saw
recall.
sign or photos of people at their front door saying, "We're here," at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Really, that early?
It might have been 8. I'm
No, it
obviously
was totally.
hyperbolic.
He's like the biggest troll on the whole entire site. Shane.
Oh,
Shane
Shane.
was-
Yeah,
yeah.
Shane
Oh,
did that.
yeah.
But he was only probably
Shane
like
Hudson.
an hour before or so.
Have you guys ever waited in line for a beer? I mean, you pretty much can kind of like call your shots with the amount of beer that you probably go through, but
I can't say I have.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same same idea you had. I just don't wait for beer.
well, it kind of comes to you, and you got to test the carbonation of the tap handle, so you got to pour a little. So
I've waited in lines.
I have not.
I've like written papers while waiting in line.
I'm trying to think. Okay, I waited in line once. I went to Vermont and waited at a party store for some Heady Topper and brought some Heady Topper back. That was the only time I waited. It was like an hour. I had to get up early, and it wasn't that bad. But I'm gonna wait, and no offense to Three Floyds, but I'm not waiting for Dark Lord for sure.
You make it sound like you brought back a 6-pack. You brought back a whole case.
I made it worth my time.
That was the only time I've ever had that beer, but I was very thankful.
Oh, you're a fan?
I'm a fan. I like it.
It has hops. Ken doesn't like it.
Interesting.
I'm not a hophead. I'll just come out and say that.
no, I think Heady Topper is one of the worst beers ever made.
You guys are trash talking Heady Topper.
I'll do it.
just
One
this
person
guy.
is trash talking Heady Topper.
I saw the look I
Can
got after I said
If anybody's listening that has some, can you please just donate a fresh can? And
Oh, you know what? I think I have a can in my.
a fresh can.
Oh, yeah,
that
I
did
Venmo
not
some-
I
stutter.
aged it apparently.
I will Venmo somebody a can or for a can of Heady Topper, and I want him. You know what?
Oh no, that's a lie. We drank it fresh here, and I still hated it.
I think that you must have had like black licorice on your tongue or something.
I don't eat sweets, so no.
Well, it's not.
Or
black licorice-
Jägermeister.
It was
Black
an off.
licorice
It
isn't
was an
sweet.
off day, man. I drink the same beer every day, and some days I love it, and some days it's just not really for me.
I think
Just have an off day.
if I beat you in fantasy football, I want you to drink a Heady Topper can by yourself,
Bring it. I'll drink it. I don't care.
and I want to film you doing it.
It's better than the cocoa shandy.
No, that's for Rob. That's all Rob.
Is there just a beer that's disgusted you guys that's come out of the market, like a flavor or,
We're talking like craft or macro?
Either or. I
don't
mean,
like any Belgian yeast, so pretty much anything Belgian is
Hams.
just like bleh.
hams.
Hams.
You watch your mouth.
I think
You watch your mouth.
I think that's probably a question that we'll stay away from, because just being in our industry,
Yeah.
it isn't
What does it rhyme with?
it isn't the best idea to trash talk people, even
Does
if
it
you
rhyme
don't
with
like 'em.
Schmem 43?
Come on now,
Charberry.
what is going on here?
What about styles? Is there a style that you guys will stay away from?
I cannot stand shandies.
Shandies.
I cannot do it.
What about Radlers?
Still can't do it.
No.
Have you tried
Shandy's
the
Rattlers.
Hoppin' Frogs, though?
I have tried theirs. I like the grapefruit.
Okay.
That was the first one I think
there's
I'd
some
ever said that
exceptions
I've
to
liked.
the-
Yeah.
okay.
If one's put in front of me and it tastes good, I'm gonna like it.
Sure.
I'm not gonna be one
If
of
one's
those
put in front
jerks,
of you,
but-
you're gonna try it.
Exactly. But there's not one that I've ever had that I've enjoyed before. That one was pretty good.
Okay.
I was gonna say there's almost nothing that I won't touch or try, or most of the stuff, even if it's not for me, I just say it's not for me.
Right.
I can kind of say this is Schwartz beer, or not? Schwartz.
Schwarzbiers.
Not Schwartz beers. What's the smoked beer? Why am I getting this wrong?
Smoke
Rogan
beers?
Why can't I think of what a smoked beer is?
Maybe we should ask the beverage director of Hopcat. He might be able to help us out here.
You should Roke beers. Thank you. Roke beers. Okay.
Like from down the street over on Lincoln?
like Roche beers.
Oh, okay.
Rauch beers.
Not Roke, as in Roke Brewing.
No, we love Roke brewing.
They're right down the road from one of you guys.
Yes,
So,
for me.
Smoked beers have never exactly been my thing, but I may have, I partake in whiskey every once in a while, and sometimes we have a bonfire, and sometimes you drink too much whiskey, and you sit around a bonfire too much, and your clothes smell like smoke, and so now every time you smell smoke, you get, nauseous, and that kind of happens.
Really?
I love that smell, so
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I think it's just there's not bad alcohol choices. It's bad food choices with alcohol.
Right.
Like you can't drink Jägermeister on a full stomach, or you can't have like sushi with Jägermeister.
Yeah, but what if I want to taste it twice?
Huh?
Like that food, I want to taste it twice. Like it's almost like Epicat.
Oh, come on.
And you get the added benefit of not, consuming as many calories.
There you go.
Yeah. See, some people say about the cold, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing decisions. I think there's no such thing as bad alcohol, just bad pairing decisions. Whether it be what you drink it with, after, eat with, or just how much of with you
I
drink.
don't eat
kind of
and then
just
drink?
want to like bring some like Heaven Hill and Arrow and some really true bottom of the barrel stuff and just
Arrow?
shots for you.
I've been on a huge mezcal kick, so I
That's
cannot.
favorite.
I am not gonna trash
I
smoked beers
I
or
tell you
smoked
what,
anything.
like with mezcals, there's a lot of like taquerias that are popping up everywhere. Like the Hooters at 16 in Rochester just turned into a taqueria.
Is that what that is now?
Yeah, it's gonna be. It says like taqueria. It's got like 8 different things. It looks like it would be like a Greek style coney because there's so many different flavors being pushed into there. Like that's the one thing I never understood. You guys have a big menu over there at Hopcat, don't you? A big food
big.
menu.
Yeah, man.
I have speaking of their menu, you guys have an annual fry challenge, don't you?
We do.
What was the most recent record or win for fries consumed?
The winner. So we do that challenge at all of the Hopcats, and then the winners at those sites go on to compete. At
All
the,
17 or just the local ones?
Just all of them, all 17. So basically, the winner gets like a little stipend for travel.
Sure.
And we try to get them down to the Ipsy Beer Fest, which just happened a little while ago. We get everybody that won up there, and they compete against each other. So usually at the site level, they eat a little bit less, and when we get all the winners together, they challenge each other and eat a little bit more. The winner this year ate a little over 4 pounds of crack fries. So like almost like I want to say 4.5 pounds of of crack fries. So
Gosh.
Now, what goes on crack fries?
special secret seasoning.
Crack?
There's not crack in there, but
Okay.
let's just say they're addictive. I believe they get their name mostly from the cracked pepper. We can speculate.
Spoiler alert.
We can speculate what's in those, and a lot of people do that. Like to say that there's garlic or maybe brown sugar or stuff like that. But we'll never tell anybody. You gotta come and just eat them.
Definitely don't get garlic, but I think there's a little something sweet and salty about them.
Yeah.
So I found a website that has apparently their own version of crack fries, the recipe.
Does it also
all
have
right, I'm
the
interested
12
now.
herbs and spices of KFC?
Hold on. Here we go. Here I got the ingredients for the fries.
Allegedly.
Brown
Do you guys
sugar.
know what's in it?
No.
They
does.
say
I couldn't live with
He
that
does.
kind of secret.
yeah. He hasn't said anything. No comment.
I
Plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth.
You know what? To be honest, I don't even.
Are we
I-
attacking?
I-
Do you feel like we're attacking?
I don't
you
even
on this
know
show?
anymore.
We ask you for your least favorite beer. We ask you what the.
That's all fine. I think I'm gonna go down for not knowing what a smoked beer is, though. That's the thing that's gonna haunt me.
So they say brown sugar, smoked paprika, salt, ground black pepper.
That's it?
Well, obviously, like how to cook. So they got like peanut oil, Parmesan cheese, finely chopped basil. So, yeah, that's the.
It's basil.
Finely chopped basil.
There's no basil in your fries.
All I can say about that is the crack fries are at their prime when you're eating them with the cheese sauce, and the cheese sauce recipe is not there. So
I can say this: did they mention the beer batter at all?
Yes, hold on. So they brought up the like there's also for the batter. So they have flour, 12 ounces Ultra Brewing Company Centerline Golden Ale or any pale ale or lager.
So it's kind of a wide variety of beers then.
Yes.
I kind of want this recipe just to like try it out, see if I can. Make crack
It's from the
fries.
website sarcasticcooking.com.
All right.
Posted last November
Okay.
or last September, excuse me.
So are they cooking ironically? Like, this tastes good, I'm going to throw it away.
Maybe it's one of those things where like they cook like a bunch of things, like they remake Red Robin seasoning for you to make for your fries or something like that. Maybe
I
they
still
just-
want to know, do they have the 12 herbs and spices from KFC on there?
Yeah, haven't you ever followed their Twitter? They follow 12 herbs and the Spice Girls, or 7 herbs and the 5 Spice Girls. That's the 12 herbs and spices.
So they put baby in on the fries.
more posh than baby.
And sporty, what exactly flavor do you get from
Well,
sporty?
sporty gives you salty, definitely salty.
I've long tried to figure out the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper, and nobody has been able to help me.
Just,
with that one.
just
Wait a
cut
second. What about Blue Moon? What the hell is that?
coriander and orange.
Yeah.
Oh, the ice cream. You mean the ice cream? I thought you meant the beer. I was like,
Yeah, we are a beer show, Ange.
Are you kidding me?
So what about the
12
Superman?
herbs and
No,
spices?
what
not-
about the Superman ice cream?
What flavor is it?
Exactly.
Superman flavor.
No, it's Blue Moon ice cream, raspberry, and like lemon.
What is Blue Moon?
So do you guys have rules for the crack fries eating? Like no major league eaters can come in, or is it kind of like fair game for whoever shows up?
No, man. Major league eaters are totally welcome. That's probably the guys that win it or the competitors that do it.
Joey
on a
Chestnut.
day-to-day
Joey
basis.
Chestnut. Yeah.
There are like certain rules that we have to try to limit like the tricks that a professional eater might
Ooh, like what?
I mean, just like
No, dunk it in water.
not dunking it in water. We don't let people do that. We let them drink water, but no dunking. Interestingly enough, I probably shouldn't spoil this all the way, but I guess I'm going to say it. I did see some people at the crack fry eating contest get around that rule by basically shoving their mouth with fries, taking a drink of water, spitting it back out into the boat, half regurgitated, and then eating them. And that's kind of how they got away, got around.
So
that
we're going to
rule.
be redoing the rules this year.
Party foul.
But like at the end of the competition, where like you got a minute to finish the fries in your mouth, you got to put your hands down and finish them because like professional eaters will like hide fries in their hands or whatever. You kind of got to check them and make sure that they're not they're on the.
See,
the
wait,
up and up.
you-
I,
what do you-
I
what do you-
would get more clever about where I'm hiding them
Right.
in my hand.
But you okay? Pass.
So that's just crazy. Do you get a lot of people that show up to like what's your biggest event like out of the 17 sites for the crack fry eating? Because obviously, like, crack fries is your big thing. Like, when you guys opened up Hopcat in Detroit, you had like first customer or first 100 customers or whatever got a free year of crack fries or something like that.
Yep.
Like, that's your, minus the giant list of beers, your claim to fame is obviously the crack fries. Are you okay? Are we?
I'm just crying.
Oh, it's a little.
Makes me
He's still thinking about the smoke beer
makes
thing.
me emotional to hear about the crack fries. You know?
Can we get an order in? Do you have a?
I was gonna say, yeah, it's kind of
Eats it.
upsetting that you
I
didn't.
think we've banned Grubhub and all those.
Have you really?
Too many
a
issues.
lot of restaurants are doing that
Too many
right
issues.
now.
Why didn't you just tell us to bring some, man?
No, I should have thought of that though. That's kind of on me.
Come on.
I-
that's-
We brought you beer.
You know,
You
shout out
did.
to
Yes,
Holidays
you
Chicken
did.
Fingers. They're legit. If anyone local needs some chicken in their life, because can't get any crack fries around here.
Does anybody need some more beer?
Damn.
We got.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Let's
gonna take a-
we're actually going to take a quick break. We're up against segment 1, so we're going to reset. I am going to tell you about a interesting thing called Audible, and we'll be right back with the Better on Draft podcast. And we are back, episode 143, Better on Draft podcast.
That's why acorns aren't called B-corns.
It's because they're much smaller. And then you get the C corns, and then they're just huge.
No, C-corns it's bad because it's alliterative. That's why there's no B batteries.
There's no B batter. Wow. Wow.
Oh gosh.
That was such a call. Yeah, that's a rare, not rare Mitch Hedberg, like, because you quote him a lot,
Love that guy.
but definitely a very rare callback of his.
I need some
Stuff.
batteries.
Yeah, batteries. What do we have for? I already got the beer, so I'll test.
Crystal
this to Nick.
Vice.
What's this?
I don't
You
know.
call it
You should
Camp
talk into
Crystal
the
Vice?
microphone so we hear you.
You know, for Friday the 13th.
Jason, I guess you can if you want.
Well, I
guys
don't
ever-
think it's their beer, is it? Is it somebody
No.
else's
Oh,
beer?
damn it.
No, it's Wine Stefan, so it's a
okay.
authentic German brewery. This is the Crystal Weiss, which is basically
Damn
just
good.
a filtered Hefeweizen
Beautiful beer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should trust you and your beer and what a beer is after not knowing
What a beer is, what a beer wants.
Definitely a
What a
lot
beer
easier
needs.
to drink than this dank wood I just opened.
I'm crying again.
What else is new?
making you feel a little bad. So before we get into continue the interview, continue to get to know you guys, we do have a big announcement.
Big announcement.
Big announcement.
Oh man, I've been pumped. I've been so pumped to hear this. I
'Cause
know
you-
what it is.
you live
but
next door.
I do. I do live next door to this place.
He's going to ride his bike.
Yeah.
All 4 wheels.
Oh yeah.
3
he
wheels.
said,
Sorry.
"Yeah, right
You
after."
guys starting a
gosh.
brewery next door?
Unfortunately, no.
No, we are not.
I don't know how to brew.
Out of all the things that we are doing, starting a brewery is probably the least thing that I want to do.
Okay, I can see
Actually,
that.
second, I think we should open up a brewery before we start a mail review.
I would rather do a mail review. I
I'm with
think it
Ken.
would be more successful than the brewery.
What if you combine the two concepts?
Ooh.
There you go.
The mail brew.
The mail.
Oh, you even got a name.
Wow.
Bam! Where's that little ding ding
like the-
ding?
Here.
Angela, hit me.
no,
Hit me
no.
one more time.
Oh, I didn't do it. That was all Angela.
For the
You can
assist.
mute her.
Don't look at me like that.
What's this announcement?
So,
that you wanted to
Ken-
say, Matt?
Yes, Matt.
So we are proud to announce that we are putting on our first ever beer fest. We will be co-hosting the Jimmy John's Field Brew Fest Saturday, October 13th. With the great folks at Jimmy John's Field. So you will
So
see
pumped.
our Ugly Mugs hosting, emceeing. I'm going to be unveiling some really new games that are going to be absolutely epic.
Oh,
We've got some great breweries that are coming out. There's already some that have been announced, but we're continuing to work our contacts on top of this to bring out some great breweries, some more breweries. Tickets are $35, I believe. Go to the Jimmy John's Field Facebook page or USPBL.
What does that
.com?
35 include?
Tokens, entry, and that's good times.
hang out with Better on Draft.
Right now, there are 12 breweries already registered. We're going to have another 10 to 12. But it is the Saturday after Nick's wedding. So come and wish him congratulations on his nuptials.
And I'll be by myself because Tara will be
No, you're
in
never alone.
California.
You're never alone with us.
Oh, she'll be in California, so it's okay.
She taking a honeymoon already without
She's
you?
actually going to a work conference. We're actually coming home early from our mini honeymoon.
Charity needs a vacation. She's
gonna
planning
need
her
a
vacation.
That's what I
She needs a
meant to
vacation
say.
away from me, like not even a week after our wedding.
I mean, I don't blame her.
So we're gonna
Oh, you're such a
we're gonna put a link on our Facebook page on how you can buy tickets. But this is a big step for us. actually throwing these beer fests, taking part in them. It's definitely not us throwing it entirely. This is definitely the infrastructure on Jimmy John's Field and the USPBL people who have been absolutely gracious and awesome to work with. But we definitely are excited to kind of jump in the arena of hosting, getting more into the community. We're going to want to have everybody that we can come out and support us and drink some great beer. Last year, I think they only had like 500 people. So we're going to try to push that. I know the winter weather wasn't great last year either.
Yeah.
So come out, hang out with us. I promise you I'm going to have some fun games. We're going to have a Price is Right wheel.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to have a bunch of fun stuff going on.
Any bounce houses?
We might have a Drinko. Not a
Drinko?
Not
Kinda
Plinko.
like Plinko.
Drinko.
If you haven't been to Jimmy John's Field yet, not even if it's maybe for one of the other, because they do have a lot of events that do go there throughout the year. But if you haven't been there yet, I think with the baseball season at Jimmy John's coming rather to a close pretty soon, this would be a good first-time event. If you're not a big baseball fan, but you're a big beer fan, this would be a good event to step into Jimmy John's Field, see what it's an awesome time.
What is a Jimmy John's Field exactly?
So Jimmy John's Field, it's a baseball field that was in the city of Utica.
Low minor league baseball.
It's not even minor. It's technically independent. You know how you have the A, AA, AAA, then major leagues. There's none of that with this league. These are kids for 18 to 26, fresh out of college or playing summer baseball in hopes and dreams of getting a professional contract.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, like Comerica, like change their name or something.
No.
So as of today,
what do we got?
The breweries that we have are Midland Brewing Company, Blake's Founders, Brooks Sherwood, New Belgium, Eastern Market, Ex-Fermentation, Dragon Mead, Brew Detroit, Arbor, Latitude 42, Drafting Table, Rustic Leaf, Crankers, Cellarman's, Bells. There are two more that are not quite on this list yet because they haven't fully registered, but a huge variety of beers and ciders. So not just beer. This is not a beer fest.
That's huge. That's very huge.
You can have ciders. You can have mead. Will be there. You have everything from entry-level beers like a Bell's and a New Belgium to crazy stuff like Ex-Fermentation.
Anything.
Yeah. Just party at the Moon Tower with Latitude 42. So it's going to be a tokened event.
What's crazy is that I talk to Chris from Latitude 42 all the time, and he tells me Party at the Moon Tower, which is a double IPA, sells really well at blue-collar bars, and it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Because I've been to these bars that he's sold to in random BFE, Ohio, and I've seen the clientele and what they drink. And he's like, yeah, they usually tap a keg of Party at the Moon Tower once every 3 days. And I'm like, what?
I'll tell you why. There's two reasons for that. The name and the ABV. And do you have a third?
Is that not a collaboration that Ernie did?
Yeah, that was that beer originally was brewed in collaboration with Hopcat for our 420 event, Super Dank, that we did, and they kind of flew with it, which is great. Totally.
It's turned into one of their core brands.
Yeah, right.
That beer rocks.
I mean, I was gonna say that the name probably, if you see a bunch of old dudes drinking it, either remember the movie from Dazed and Confused. That's what the name is from, Party at the Moon Tower.
I was thinking more like Neil Young, actually, I was thinking Jimi Hendrix, all along the Watchtower.
No, man,
Wrong tower.
It's like Matthew McConaughey. We're gonna have a party at the Moon Tower with the kegs, and we're doing
right.
It was the party that they had there, the beer party at the Moon Tower.
They should have a really young beer called The Thing About Freshman Chicks.
I'm just going to keep going. So at the festival, now you guys look like you would play a sport that would involve throwing a disc into a cage.
That's for people that smoke, I think. Are you insinuating something here?
I was more going for the beards. You definitely Can confirm. You guys play disc golf?
I have. I don't actively play, but I will play. If
not on the regular, but I will definitely play with Jay and have played before. Yes.
We're actually having an ace race at Jimmy John's Field.
Same day.
Same day
as the beer.
Did you register for that? Because that requires registration.
That does require separate registration. I did not because I am terrible at disc golf.
That is Sans
so
the beer
Let's
fest.
do it together.
I play disc golf to smoke a cigar. That is my excuse to play
Which you won't be
disc
able to
golf.
do at Jimmy John's Field.
You will not be able to do at Jimmy John's Field. No,
But you can drink.
you can.
You can drink.
So if you do want to take part of the Ace Race, which is completely separate, the Beer Fest, also look at that. You can enter the Beer Fest with the Ace Race ticket. However, that requires, again, it's a shotgun start. It's not going to be involved with the Beer Fest. It's a completely separate entity. I've been made clear that. Thus, but the great thing is the owner's suite to pitcher's mound is one of the holes. So you're like throwing it down.
Wait.
That's
so
cool.
From upper deck
Yeah.
down to the
Yeah,
pitcher.
that's like the
fucking
that's
crazy.
like one of the 18th or whatever.
Really?
I am gonna have to bring my disc because
Yeah.
I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
have to
try
play.
just to
I
see
was
how
gonna say,
close I
yeah.
can.
You're not going to participate?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm terrible at disc golf, but I'll probably be there like hours early, so I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go try
Yeah.
this real quick.
There's a disc golf hole that's actually a block away from the original Hopcat in Grand Rapids. They did it in Grand Rapids. They do this art fair called Art Prize.
Okay.
And they put a disc basket up on top of this building, so it's like a story and a half or 2 stories, up or whatever. So for like Art Prize, there was like 1,000 discs that you could see like kind of up on this roof and around the area and like whatever. And now every once in a while you still see people throwing at it. You don't get your disc back obviously unless you don't make it, but it's still kind of cool that it's there. It's like a block up on Commerce Street in Grand Rapids.
That's crazy. I'm actually going to Grand Rapids on Thursday. I'm gonna have to check
disc?
this out for work.
Throw a disc at
You know what? I got a disc I can lose.
What are you going down to Grand Rapids for?
I work in restaurant point of sale, so
Bingo.
I go to a lot of a lot of restaurants across the state and the country. So I don't remember which one. I'm sure I could grab it during the break, but like in regards to local, like we just did Bigalora, which is our newest client locally. So been to all those. Going keto and having to go to these damn places has been
not easy at
no.
all.
Like go to a pizza place and it's like, I can't
man.
have any of your pizza.
No
Ever.
cauliflower pizza?
They do not do cauliflower pizza there. I am going to be making though a keto shepherd's pie with cauliflower instead of
Crust?
potato.
Oh, is potato not keto?
No, not at all.
But isn't cauliflower a root vegetable as well?
I don't believe so.
Cauliflower?
Yeah.
It grows above the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. My vegetable knowledge is limited.
It's just like a white broccoli. Just grows.
But
Yeah.
it's a white,
it's
tasteless
a
broccoli.
ghost broccoli.
Yeah, it's a crunchy, tasteless broccoli.
It's clear.
I think it's pretty good.
It's disgusting.
No, it's not, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's like the
No.
chocolate to white chocolate.
No.
Yes.
You season it really well, you can barely even know.
Yeah, if you put enough salt on it to give you a heart attack to defeat the purpose.
you
of
light, no, you
cauliflower.
lightly salt it, and you put like garlic powder, garlic seasoning. It's really
Which is
good.
so much sodium
No.
that it defeats the purpose of eating.
Listen,
Well, hold on.
cauliflower
Not that
has
much.
given a diet new meaning. You can turn it into mashed potatoes. You can turn it into pizza. It's
I've had
literally
it
the
for
best
mashed
thing that's
potatoes.
happened.
You can turn it into
to us.
tater tots. You can turn it into tater tots.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
We should.
I'm gonna,
So
I'm gonna-
cauliflower is the
Anything
new
fried.
potato.
this is not better on diet. We need to move on to the news.
Well, this Dankwood isn't all that. I don't know.
We're taking
Well,
PBR.
You should pour some for other people.
You
We
want-
have
you guys-
guests.
have you
They
guys
brought
had
us
that-
beer. Why
I
don't
was
you
gonna say-
offer them some
But
beer?
I say, have you guys had Dankwood yet?
I'm sure they have.
I have.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll pour it around.
I
Anyway.
got
I'm pretty sure.
I'll have a little bit.
Let's
How about
let's get a guess.
Yeah.
What do you think the amount of beers you try per year?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Do
So
you
not
guys
new
check in your
beers, just beers.
I stopped checking in a couple of years ago. Per year, different beers.
Not
or
different. Like how many different beers do you have per year? Not new beers. So if you have Bud Light in 2016 and Bud Light in 2017, you still count that Bud Light in 2017.
I would say ballpark estimate 300
In a year?
in a year.
It's only
In a
like
year.
less than one a day. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't drink every day, and if I do drink every day, likely that
you know what
this one is going to fall into my lap. I'm pointing at the blue ribbon can.
The dank one.
It's on the table, so
I have
Don't
a,
hate on it, Ted.
I have a semi-cushy, office position yet. I do try, a ton of beer still, but when I was at a site, I was at the Detroit site for a couple of years as a purchaser there. I definitely tried a beer every single day that I worked, sometimes, 2 just to sample. So on top of that, and just sampling stuff for what we brought in, my number has got to be on average way higher than that. I mean, I must have tried close to 1,000 different beers in a year. I mean, that would seem pretty reasonable, you know?
Wow.
What is like when you guys have a
this
beer,
is
a
fucking
release,
amazing.
a tap takeover, something like that? What's that beer
Andrew,
you
where did you
have
get
to
this?
try? Or like if you're at Royal Oak and you see that, you know, Detroit's doing a tap takeover of this specific brewery because they're having this beer, what's that beer you go for?
Specific beer or
Specific
style?
beer, not style. Specific beer. You can play
I'm gonna let
favorites.
you answer that first.
Dude, it's hard,
That's not,
man.
that's not trash talk. You can play favorites.
It just depends on, you know, what you're going for. I think, you know, maybe the public that hasn't, you know, had certain beers go for, you know, barrel-aged stuff or the big things, New England IPAs right now.
Is it?
I can't really tell, but I think we're drifting in that direction a little bit.
How many IPAs do you think Hopcat Detroit has on draft right now?
Right at this moment,
Just a guess.
22.
22.
Yeah.
So your capacity is roughly 20% IPA.
Sure.
It seems low.
I mean, I
seems
think
low.
I think numbers get skewed when you have less taps, but yeah, it does seem a little low in regards.
I think usually
to,
it's like a third of the beer.
we have a menu here.
That's a Royal Oak menu, but I've only got 12 or 13.
How many taps do you have
Flip
at
over to
Royal
the
Oak?
back.
I have 100 rotating taps.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, 70 rotating, 30 are local.
There's like 10 sections, so 20 in the IPA would be pretty normal. I mean, that would be actually on the high end, you know, whatever.
Your 30
but-
local is pretty standard across the Hopcat board for Michigan, correct?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's different from Detroit and Ann Arbor. We tried to grab a couple beers from more on this area of Metro Detroit. So Drafting Table is on there. Ellison's on there. As opposed
Griffin
to...
Claw.
Yeah. Northville Winery and Brewery. So, yeah, we try to pull some things that were more localized than maybe Detroit.
I think it's like 50-50. We got those 30 taps that, you know, we keep on, and, you know, about half of them we see at all the sites just because they're, you know, the ones that we definitely have to have that people reach for. But, yeah,
What was the fastest beer that sold, like tapped?
ever?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're talking recently or historically. I mean,
Let's go recently, and we'll go from there.
I don't know
Sure
when
you
the
have a
last time you
handful.
worked a release was.
yeah, not in a while.
We did a quarter barrel of CBS in 61 minutes last year.
61 minutes.
It's almost like what we did with Mango and Chained.
We did, but we gave it away for free.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, at what price did you sell the CBS? 'Cause I think you. I don't know if you would have gotten it sold it faster if it was free.
We were doing 5.5 ounce pours for like $6,
Oh,
I
that
want
ain't-
to
that
say,
ain't a
right
bad
around there,
price.
6 or 7.
but
Actually pretty good,
61 minutes for a quarter barrel, you close the taps in between, definitely. I've at least, I mean, this was at least several years ago when, you know, KD,
It's only 120 pours,
yeah,
give or
exactly.
take.
Yeah.
For,
It's about the same as pints.
I pretty much had that tap open the whole time with
Yeah.
a couple of few minutes.
You're probably just pouring it, and servers are coming to pick it up when they.
Yep.
I have seen KBS a few years ago, like at the Grand Rapids location, them just open that tap up and never shut it until the barrel's gone, you know? So,
Really?
I've had that happen too.
Yeah.
At Brown Iron.
There was a place in Grand Haven when
We
I went on our little beer tour.
Called Outside Ales.
No. This is down the street from Oddside. They had KBS on tap, and
it's
they
a
were like,
bar.
"No one's going crazy over it." It's like, yeah, I've been trying to get rid of this for 2 weeks. No one will take it. I'm like,
They were taking.
It's a lot different on that side.
I know
of the
it is,
state.
but
I think it's just a lot different now, actually, because I
There's a
mean,
little bit
even
more of it out
from
there, yeah.
Yeah.
from opening 3.5 years ago to 2018, we did ticket events for KBS just to keep it organized and streamlined.
yeah.
And then now, we get quite a few barrels throughout the year, and it's like, well, not throughout the year, but a couple times a year, whatever.
Sure.
And I can put it on tap, and it's just there. Nobody's breaking down the walls to get it.
I think for events like that, where we do the 3 Nicks releasing of Bourbon County. We've done that a couple years now, Ken.
Yep.
And the way they, I'm not sure how you got, but the way they do it there, you're guaranteed from this time to this time. It's generally a week. It works out perfectly.
And
That's
you bought a ticket.
You get a ticket.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed a pour of previous year and current year, and no questions asked. If you're
You
not,
have $20 for two 10-ounce
That's-
pours, a 2-year vertical, and you can go anytime during a 7-day
Yeah.
period
That's
to pick it up.
that's not
That's
not
pretty
a bad
cool.
deal.
I'm a big fan
Thanks
of
for the
tickets.
idea.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Did you say thanks for the idea? You could thank former sponsor and still great friend of the show, 3 Nick Scoreboard over at
Ryan and Nicole.
Ryan and Nicole.
Ryan and
Yep.
Nicole.
One of the Knicks. Ryan, who is the bar manager. You want to talk about a mesh of characters. 3 Nick Scoreboard is by far still the craziest place I've ever been to in regard. Have you guys ever been there?
Never.
One, it's in Allen Park, so it's a blue collar
Oh,
bar.
it's. I mean, there's 3 locations though, isn't there?
There is,
But
but 3 Nick Scoreboard.
Yeah.
I frequent that area, so
So
On
two,
purpose? Or
they're
do you just like end up?
not on purpose. My
Yeah.
dad lives down there.
their tap list is rival to any non-poor house, we'll say. So you're talking both domestics that for the local blue collar crowd, but like they're the kind of people. They did a 3-year parent no rules vertical just recently, right when no rules came out this year. They did a 3-year vert of no rules.
Ticketed?
No, that was a walk up pour.
Tickets might be out the door soon because it just does seem like everybody's just brewing such large quantities, which is a great thing for anyone that wants to shit on, too much KBS being around. But
I mean, I have my KBS. Like, I'll have it once a year, and then I'm just kind of over it. Like, I don't. There's so many good beers out there that I just don't need to. Like, I've had CBS twice. I've had it in the bottle this past release, and then before the Public House did a showing of it. And I
I've
just,
yet to have it.
Really?
Yeah.
ever?
What?
What do you?
Ever.
All of us must have a bottle laying around.
I,
no rules?
I don't.
No, CBS.
No, of CBS.
What was that?
I'm out.
What do you think? Just what's your opinion on like what trends, in beer styles are looking like? Because I mean, in my opinion, I feel like, although there's still those barrel aged things that people, actively search after and look for, and it seems like everything is trending a bit lighter. I mean, even myself, I'm drinking lighter beers. It seems like IPAs are switching to New England, which are
We've seen this trend for the past probably about year and a half.
years.
Yeah, we've been calling for the high like pills, the kolsches, the lagers, like the crisp,
Right.
easy to drink ales, almost to like 100% balance, like that light side to the dark side of all those barrel aged heavy beers.
It was right when the barrel age and the West Coast IPAs, the Green Flesh, the 110,000 million IBU beers.
Yeah. we were noticing that trend and seeing that trend in the future, but the issue is that one, in regards to lagers, a lot of breweries like your North Center or your drafting table or your rustic leaf can't lager because that takes up a fermenter for 45 days. They don't have the time to do that unless you have that extra capacity, that extra space. And if you don't, you can't. It's just impossible because you're losing money. That's
breweries can't
usually
do
an
it.
extra 15, 20 days of money loss. You're almost doubling the amount of time fermenting for one beer where you could put a whole other beer in there, sell those kegs to, outside use. So I think we see it a lot where those beers are going to contract brews. Like, I would not be surprised. Like, we know, because you can find it on their website over at Brew Detroit. Who's contract brewing over at Brew Detroit. What they're probably contract brewing, and it's probably those lagers.
And big batches.
And because that's the only way to do it.
And it's still, the charm of your local brewery is that it's a 50 to 60 seat place where everybody knows everybody. You don't have room for a giant parking lot or a brew house. You put on your shit you can turn. So you can put it right back in the keg.
I think this year you're seeing the bubble burst. We've talked about it so much times, but we just had Tallgrass close today.
yeah, just heard that.
I'm from Kansas,
Closed,
so
or
that
they-
one hit me
Closed.
right here.
No.
They're
way.
Yes.
Thought they
production
season
closed.
production.
Production. That's
You have to
pretty
be
much.
clear when you. So
Well-
what's the story?
There's-
Wah.
Are you guys are gonna do news, so
Yeah,
I think
go for it. Talk.
we're
I
gonna
think
get
this
into
is our
this.
news segment.
This is the news segment of segment 2.
We just don't have the music. Wow.
We don't
I
have.
mean,
we don't
hold
have
on-
our
hold on
leader
a
to keep us
second.
on
Are you gonna do
track.
in honor of Rob?
Hold on
Yes.
a second. In honor of Rob,
In
which
memoriam.
in memoriam, I had it.
He's
queued
fine.
up.
He's just at home. He's taking care of some business.
That's poor. Like somebody was just like, "Oh my gosh, Rob is gone." Maybe it's like his family member or something like that. No, we do have a little sounder that we always play for the news. So I'll make it official for you. Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
No,
I'll
not
let
you,
you-
boy.
I don't
My
care, I'm
my
listening.
tears are working up right now about this
Here
whole
is
thing.
Robert
So,
with the beer news.
oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Nice
That's
little
nice.
official.
Yeah.
It's like our own
Tall
little
grass.
SNL.
Yeah.
This
That-
is the weekend update.
That whole thing, I kind of saw that coming for a while.
Oh.
They have suspended their operations, but they still have beer, but they still are going to keep their tap room open, right? But what does that mean? Like, how are they going to keep their tap room
mean,
open if they're not
Producing?
producing?
I kind of read through the article that I saw that broke today. It basically said that they were kind of in trouble with investors and trying to restructure and make things work, and it sounded like they still have a bit of time to come to an agreement, so like a few weeks. But if that doesn't happen and they can't get the investors on board and they can't fix things, then they're just going to shut down production altogether. But yeah, they said they were going to keep the tap room open. They're just not going to have cans in stores anymore.
I think what's really interesting about that is that, like, reading into that story, they went for funding to open up a production facility to support their regional sales. And what happened was, during that time that they built that brewery, you're right, the bubble is getting bigger and bigger, and then it nearly bursts. And by the end of that, they were to a point where they couldn't send out beer because nobody was going to buy it because there's so much out there. Same thing kind of happened with Green Flash, right? Who was going to open a tap room in Lincoln where we have a Hopcat. So I followed that very closely, and it's very similar. It's just not as big of a fall, it looks like.
But okay, so you're from Kansas.
I lived there for 10 years. I'm from Michigan, but
Okay.
I spent 10 years there.
Is the beer scene in Kansas anything remotely like it is in Michigan?
Absolutely not, but in the last 2 years, it's changed dramatically.
But I guess to me, the premise of the question to me is it seems that you've got to build a following and a foothold where you're from before you expand. And it seemed to me that Tallgrass, and I know very little about Kansas except the fact that I'll probably never go there.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
But here in Michigan, we have going on 400 breweries by the end of the year.
Yep.
If you go to betterondraft.com/MyBeerMap, you'll find that out. But we can support that because we have the brewery following and the beer drinkers here. Whereas Kansas doesn't seem like you have people that have a brewery on every corner like we have here. So you don't have that, not reputation, but mindset, mantra, if you will. And if you're not stable at home and you reach out to other places, if one of those other places don't work out, then you're completely screwed. You have nothing to fall back on.
Well,
we see this, over and over again with breweries, I think, where they kind of overextend themselves into, outside markets, because they're seeing an increase, year over year. And what a lot of people have said when we see these closures or mergers or whatever, is just like, we didn't expect this many breweries to pop up and have so much competition. Like when we started distributing such and such a year ago, there were 1,000 breweries. Now there's 10,000 breweries, so we didn't really. So obviously part of that is poor planning, but that's the story that you hear,
But are those in? And we'd have to go to the list of beer per capita or consumption in breweries. But I don't think that. If we talk about Vermont, which is the brewery capital of the country, if you start a brewery in Vermont on any street corner, I think it would do well because everybody in Vermont likes beer. Same thing with Washington, where the community will sustain it because it's the local corner brewery. But if you do it in North Dakota, for instance, or one of these breweries or states rather, that are like brewery deserts, where you don't have that culture of, hey, let's go to the brewery this weekend, or let's stop and support the local business at the brewery. I think that's where you kind of fall off.
If we're talking about tall grass still, that's why they're keeping the tap room open, because they do have the clientele to support the tap room.
I'll drink
think
that
they've got
key lime.
the
I'll drink
support,
that key
too.
lime pie all day.
Yeah.
I mean, their pale ale, 8-bit, Trevor turned me on to them, one of our old guys, and I started drinking all their beers, and I was like, wow, like their core list is actually fantastic. They do a great Belgian, they do a great stout, they do a great pale ale. But Nebraska is another, when we opened Hopcat there, you go to Nebraska and you're thinking, why are we going to Nebraska? Is there beer in Nebraska?
Corn.
There's
Right.
corn in Nebraska. There's
a college.
Yeah, there's a college.
That's it.
They have a fantastic brewing scene.
Really?
That really a lot of people don't know about. And
I'm
now,
still bitter over 1987, so we can't really pump Nebraska too much.
Well, and Kansas is very much like Nebraska, but it's 10 years behind Nebraska. So whereas 10 years ago, Nebraska, a lot of the people who are doing things there now were doing them a long time ago. Now Kansas is just getting with the times. So those are like the markets where I think are really cool for craft beer right now, because my friends 5 years ago there would have never even picked up another beer aside from Bud Light. And now they're talking about picking up growlers from Central whatever brewing company in the middle of Wichita, which is amazing.
Shocker.
But at the same time, there was no breweries there other than one for 20 years, and now there's 5. It's a shocker. I saw it in
Yeah.
Wichita. I like that.
That was good.
So-
that was very
No,
subtle.
I think it's like that is a certain part of the country where it just hasn't hit yet, and it's now hitting. And unfortunately, Tallgrass was ahead of the times, and now they kind of look like the bad guy when really they were the great guy.
So I see it this way, and one of the big things when we talk about these issues is that the breweries that aren't at the next level, and I'm talking top 10 in production. So when you put your Founders up there, your Bells, Dogfish Head, when you're not there, you're ripe for the picking for a lot of these craft brewery buyers. So Constellation, Anheuser Busch, Lush, Lagunitas. So those are the breweries that are going to get attracted by, because the top 10 aren't going to lose the market share. The middle is going to lose it because the bottom doesn't have a market share to lose. Those like your Drafting Table, your Rustic Leaf, your Brown Iron Brew House, North Center Brewing, all these small breweries, local, they thrive and survive based on the local industry. Therefore, they're not reliant on these, getting distro out. Like, I know Baffin's getting distro out, but they have to my knowledge, they don't have an intention of trying to go huge, big, quick, fast. Like, they're just trying to get, get sales out to produce more beer, to pump more beer, to get more beer out, because it's almost like free advertising, how your beer does in bars. But these breweries and I'll call it right now, breweries like New Holland, who already took a bite of Pabst Blue Ribbon's money, Shorts, who already took a bite of Shorts money, or Lush money. These breweries are the ones that are going to pop. These are the ones that are going to be hurt the most, and these are the ones that are going to get their facilities purchased by Constellation. And that's my personal opinion. Not better on draft. I am better on draft. Let's be serious. Let's stroke
Excuse
my ego
me?
a little. Okay,
True story.
me, Nick, and Dan are better on draft technically, but it is really me.
What a jerk.
But no, that's my opinion. And obviously, as you guys are beer buyers, you're purveyors of beer, you purchase beer. Do you see this? Do you see something different? It's not necessary. You have to pay attention to these markets. You have to pay attention to these trends. So it's not thinking that New Holland makes bad beer, therefore they're going to get bought out. It's the fact that they're making good beer in such a cramped market that there's only so much room to improve,
Right.
but so much room to fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think market representation and quality of product goes all the way.
But don't you think Tallgrass has a very quality product?
I do.
But hold on,
But there's no face in the market.
Yeah,
so
there's
who
no
sells their beer.
I've
But
never.
they don't come to Michigan.
They do come to Michigan.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Tallgrass does not get distro to Michigan
Bullshit.
according to Seeker Brew.
Yeah, Seeker Brew's a little bit outdated sometimes.
Yeah,
But Tallgrass does come in.
I bought it at Zatuna Liquor in Rochester Hills.
Just south of M59 on Rochester
Yeah, I
Road.
bought their key lime pie. I've drank it on this show, and I might even have some in my trunk still.
We get it in Grand Rapids at least.
the trunk
We've
of the
been
car
getting
that
it for a while.
you got sideswiped in earlier.
That indeed car. They have a key lime pie.
I think
Sour
like
ale, that's fantastic.
Well, I guess then that shows the fact that I had no idea.
I think
Yeah, and that's true too.
breweries like Green Flash, and we can talk about them because it's Green Flash now. But like if you look at their representation in the market and their quality of product, yeah, they make great beer, but they make 4 IPAs and then
A Belgian.
and a stout. And in this market, there's already a huge IPA grab from the Michigan breweries. So
Are there a
people
lot of
aren't-
IPAs in Michigan? I haven't noticed.
But
Like, I mean, does like Bell's make an IPA?
right, or just shorts.
Oh,
or-
you know what? No, Larry's latest. That's an IPA.
sour.
No, there's a Larry's latest IPA.
Is it
But-
really?
Yeah.
that's one thing where
It's the latest
yeah,
one.
The beer is great, but I don't. Green Flash is there, but it's not really there.
But hold on. So I have that. I think that segues into one of the other horses that we always beat, the 3-tiered system.
Right.
Because when someone approaches you and Roy Loke and says, "Hey, buy these beers for me," Green Flash is like the bottom of their necessity bucket because they have all these other beers that they have to sell for. So, and I don't think Green Flash ever employed a local rep. They just had their distributors rep their product. So they would come in and
Or
say,
a state rep who has the whole state to cover, so you may see them
Yeah.
once or twice a year.
"Did they?" I mean,
I don't need someone to come knock on my door, but if someone's not there informing you, then you might forget.
Ange, did you ever have anybody except your Powers rep talk to you about Green Flash?
Green Flash was
Powers.
slightly before my time.
Okay.
I mean,
there
they
was a-
came in and came out so quick, and I was
They
still,
literally just pulled out.
You were still
yeah, but at that point, like they haven't been active
no.
in our market for at least a year, maybe more. Like the last time I remember being excited, and I actually just wore this shirt the other day, was the treasure chest that they did for one of the higher ups had
Right.
breast cancer, so they did this like great IPA with hibiscus, and it was a big deal. But that was way back in 2016, and since then I haven't heard a word.
They
So.
they did that in 2017 too.
We didn't get, but we
Yeah.
didn't get it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we just chose not to buy it,
See,
or if our
Well,
distributor
hold on,
didn't offer
because
it.
I'm gonna throw another wrench into the thing. Is
I
that
love wrenches.
do you
That wrench
think
can
that
go.
us, because especially in Detroit, but even Michigan, Michiganders buy Michigan products before anything else.
I mean, there's multiple facets to why people don't survive, and I think the brewery rep, being out there and reminding people
I
about the
think it's an
product is one
education
thing.
too, you know?
yeah.
Staying up with the trends. I mean, West Coast IPAs are not in style anymore.
You're not wrong. People drink
Or they're
more,
just not
more
classified
Michigan beer.
that way anymore.
You'll even hear certain breweries that come into states around when they get near Michigan because there's so many breweries here. People will decide to go to the states around us just because there's a little less competition than there's here. So you're definitely right.
So what's your thought on the shorts fiasco that they expanded out of Michigan and then they almost immediately contracted pretty much back?
Yep.
Do you
Well,
got,
I think they thought their outside market was big because their beers were actually very good trade value. And as much as, here you go, Ange, as much as we don't talk, they're not looking at trade value like, oh my gosh, but they're looking at trade value as companies are saying, or not companies, but people are saying they want their beer and they can't get their beer. And sooner or later, you have to decide, are you going to expand or not? And because they have that brand new facility up in Elk Rapids, they needed to fill the tanks, and therefore they needed to actually
yes.
get. Oh,
Oh yeah, he needs to get his fix first.
need a little more of that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
busted out
This
a big
is-
one.
What did we bust out here?
they took a shot.
The
man,
outside
you know what I mean?
deleter
Deleterious? I don't know the right way
You
to
can pronounce it however you
Delete.
want.
Isn't Odside the one that has Shady Nasty, but everyone can't figure out if it's
Shandy
Shady
Nasty.
Nasty or
Shade
Dynasty or
I want to try their,
I
their
believe that's
Thundercat
another-
Firebird or whatever.
I think they have a few that we can't figure out exactly what.
That Shady Nasty's another
How to
It's Always
pronounce-
Sunny beer, right?
They're all always sunny
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, this one.
yeah,
This
we
one's
did
so
we
freaking
did
good.
over at One Eyed Betty's, and It's Always Sunny trivia
There's
sponsored
a
by
I heard that was
Odside.
Saved by the
fantastic.
Bell trivia this weekend.
I saw that. I was not like I've seen that show on syndication so many times, but there's no way it wouldn't be like how I did at How I Met Your Mother trivia.
Did you go to that?
No, I didn't. I just answered all the questions in Rob's when we were driving to the festival.
Did anybody catch the rap and tap they did last week?
I
did
did.
not.
I saw a little
Andrew,
video of that.
That
was good.
was probably the best beer event that I've been to. in the
They've
last
already
2
announced
years,
the second
since the no
one.
rules party that you threw. But
Well, thank you.
yeah, the winter one is going to be good, and I think they're all going to come prepared this time.
Do you think they're gonna like have cameos?
There already was cameos, and I think they're only going to get better. From my inside knowledge of the situation,
I think we need to figure out a way to cameo that.
So we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Right back.
Whiteback.
White
back.
Brain.
Yeah. Better on Draft Podcast. Hello, this is Ken, Better on Draft, episode 143. Definitely some interesting crosstalk while we were
No kidding.
all muted.
So really quickly
Thank
before
goodness.
because I know Matt's got the
I mean, we have time. We have
the
time.
budget version of 5 questions.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes before the show.
Yeah, the sideswipe version.
Do you guys get like a lot of people that come in and ask? Because obviously this is craft. Your place is craft beer orientated. Do you guys get
Oriented.
Whatever.
Orientals.
I'm slowly drunk right now. Fuck it.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. The odd side's really great, by the way.
What a treat.
I know.
13%.
Yeah.
I think they just released it.
We don't drink anything
This
less
is
than
a
10.
special
We,
release today.
We
Oh,
put
is
it
it?
on
Yeah.
at Brown Iron too, and I'm kind of busy all weekend, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not trying that.
I wanted to
one.
make
And
sure
then
that you
lo and
worked there.
behold-
I love your guys' brewer.
Oh, hey,
He's
there.
Oh,
awesome.
Ryan?
Yes.
There you go.
I met him during the brew pub club. I don't know if you know about that, but there's a couple brew pubs.
Sounds exclusive. I don't know about it.
Uh-oh. So, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, it's.
okay.
I don't want to blow the secret of the brew pub club.
Oh.
So there's a
You
thing.
should blow the secret while you're on air with a mic.
Well, there's a bunch of brew pubs in the area, and they all get together and brew beer together.
Is there a password?
I don't know.
No, you're
I
muted.
stumbled upon this party
England
one day and
clam
was
Are they
invited.
like? Are they home
Beer
brews?
one.
Like you guys are just brewing your small batches? It's not going anywhere.
I had nothing to do with it. I stumbled upon the party one day. It was you guys, Royal Oak Brewery, Detroit Brewing Company, and
Hanging out with Justin Riopel.
yeah,
Cojones?
Atwater in the
Is
Park.
it
the
Cojones?
hell? I am gonna kick Ryan.
Great Baraboo.
Looks like Angela knows what she's doing when she
Shores
gets back
Inn
to
and
work
Great
on
Baraboo are the same
Monday.
people?
I did not know that.
So I was at this bar. It's called Shores Inn in St. Clair Shores.
Yes.
This guy asked me, "Hey, what do you think about the beer at Great Baraboo?" And I proceeded to lay in it because I don't think it's very good.
Okay.
And they said, we own that place too, right? And I was like,
Shores Inn owns that?
well, I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, I mean,
I think it's okay.
I think it's
Honesty
serviceable.
is the best policy.
It's kind of like Granite City, where you're not going there for the food, you're more going there for the atmosphere. You're not going there for the beer,
beer.
you're going
You're
there
going
for the
the
food and the
yeah.
atmosphere.
Okay,
Well,
that's
yeah,
fair.
but
That's
Shores
fair.
Inn isn't going to extort you for macaroni and cheese.
Well, you
like
have Granite
will.
City now, who's doing a lot of brewing in state. Like from what I've gathered, that they're actually doing more than just their their
look like you're holding your tongue
contract.
about that.
Yeah,
They're like,
you're holding your tongue a
yeah.
little.
So
No,
there's some stuff behind that
You know more than I do.
that I
about
don't
Granite
love.
City.
They, from what I understand, they're on the same program as BJ's Brew House, which is like a big West Coast thing.
Yeah, kind of like
Where they
Red
brew-
Rock or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, or
They-
Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
That's, I
They
said
brew
Red Rock,
everything
and you
in
knew I
one
meant
place,
Rock Bottom.
and then they send it out to the
Okay, Rock.
locations
To
and have
finish.
somebody like they have a fermentation specialist, and that's all they do.
Wait, so they send wort?
They
Yes.
send wort out to the
They
stores. like
did.
Granite
Granite City in Michigan now does not, because there was a whole thing as to why they could join the Brewers Guild. Because
Did they or did they not?
they are in the Brewers Guild. They
Oh.
go to festivals, but they also bring non-traditional Granite City beers.
So I've been to Granite City before.
I have. I was the first customer at Troy. I have a nice Gross growler. I love those Gross, like the nice
Pop-offs.
glass with the
Swing-
pop offs and
swing
the.
tops,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I'll be honest. I think that's literally the worst place in the world. I think I had a bowl of mac and cheese for like $18.
You know I own
And,
that
like-
place, right?
I think I had like a $12 Cosmo, like an $8.
Wait a second.
Well, I had a date. Okay, that's why. Okay, I was previously in a relationship. It was like $12 for a Cosmo, $8 for a 16-ounce beer, and then it was like $20 for a plate of like fettuccine Alfredo, whatever their version of it, in like this oversized like tipping bowl that always seemed like it was gonna fall in your lap.
The food itself, I think, has gone downhill from the original tastings. But I got to go like prior to them opening because my God, like it's one of those like long like friends, brothers, girlfriends, whatever.
Ferris's brother saw him at the 31 Flavors last night.
So yeah, I think their food program's gone down a little bit, but when it originally opened and they actually cared, I think it was pretty good. Now, in regards to Granite City in Michigan, obviously they make more beer here to be part of the Brewers Guild because I think that was the whole thing.
You have to make a certain amount?
You can't. No, it's not a certain amount, but the way they were brewing beer by just importing wort from their major facility and fermenting it, they had to actually make beer here. So like full process start to
why
end.
they wanted to be a part of the guild
Look,
so bad.
I don't. Man, this is gonna be a tough one. Absolutely nothing against speciation at all. I love speciation, but I mean, isn't that the same thing? And they're part of the Brewers Guild. Like speciation just gets wort from other places, brings it back to their joint, and either douses it with wild yeast or whatever they do. They're still part of the guild. That's so weird that's
Couldn't
a
tell
rule.
you.
Yeah, that's.
I'll follow up with our contacts at the Brewers Guild, and we'll get back with that official answer next.
Well, it's like
next week.
that's kind of almost getting into territory talking about gooseries, right? Like they bring in
Yeah,
different lambics to blend.
Some of them, yeah, but I mean that.
Well, are there gozeries locally?
Not here,
Oh,
but
so-
just,
Damn,
I'm saying in,
process.
like in terms of the
Process.
We need
conversation.
to start talking.
We do have a question from the chat
a
that
good idea.
wants to get to you guys. And what is your opinion on brute IPAs?
I don't know them well enough yet.
I've only had one. I can't even remember what one I tasted. But I'm excited for more of them to come in and be able to try more. I know, a little about the process was like they use the enzyme that, is kind of helps lighten up some of the stouts and stuff like that. I don't see why you wouldn't apply it to other styles and see what you get. A dry IPA sounds like a great thing to
Isn't that
me.
just a West Coast IPA, though?
I don't.
Like a Band-Aid on your tongue, kind of rip it right off?
I don't think it's the bitterness that does it. It's just like the sugar, content in it. Basically, it like it breaks up the sugar finer, so it like brings the gravity down. The mouthfeel is lighter and it's a drier beer.
Drafting Tables Space Force 1. I think that was the name of it. That one rocked. That's the only one I've had.
Do you think that's going to be the next style of IPA to hit?
We've been speculating about that. I don't think it'll be obviously take off as big as New England's, but who knows? Maybe it will. I do think it'll have its little heyday. I think probably right now, in between the we went from barrel ages and into New England's, and right before we get into brewed IPAs, the step that we're on right now is glitter beer. Like we're going through the glitter beer.
Has that one
phase.
really taken
Yeah.
off though?
I think it's
I don't
it's
think
niche.
I think it was niche
It's
for like
coming.
2 months.
It's coming.
Do you
Still
guys
coming.
Well, do you think that New England IPA?
Are you doing one currently?
The Hopcat. I don't.
A big wave of glitter
the
beer
Hop-
coming from Hopcat.
The
over here.
Hopcat, isn't gonna brew a glitter beer. I doubt. Although actually, that's not a bad idea.
I
but
couldn't get Ryan to do one either.
we do want
glitter?
to do kind of this
be like a
this
stripper
New Year's
fermenter.
event where we have some time tappings, and I'm dead set on getting a glitter beer for midnight time tapping, just that way everyone can have a
Brewery Vivant did a
have,
great one.
have a glitter beer. Yeah, definitely the strawberry for
Do
sure.
you guys think that New England IPAs are here to stay? Do you think that you're always going to have a couple of lines of them, or do you think that's just another fad that's kind
I'll
of
let you answer.
leave a
this one
couple in
first.
its wake?
Man, for sure. I think that it's here. And, it'll go in waves. They might, fade out a little bit. I mean, nothing ever disappears, right? It kind of just goes in waves. I mean, we kind of went through, like, the phase with session IPAs, came out and everyone was doing their version of that. And then it went away a little bit. But everyone's still, all-day IPA from Founders is still, a big seller for them. I think New England's are going to stick around. Maybe
I
not
think
as
they
much
just
as they
morphed
are. But
again because I just saw a post on my way in from, I think, Oddside did a collab with.
The cat whiskers or whatever?
No, I don't know. I should have paid more attention. Anyway, it looked like brown dishwater. It did not look good, but they were holding it proud, like, hey, check out our hazy IPA brewed with mangoes, blueberries, pizza, whatever else, like anything to
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So like the new thing is just going to be like throwing all these adjuncts into
Dude,
the hazy IPA.
I just had a New England IPA from Big Lake Brewing and it was a blood orange, New England IPA, and I didn't think that, I was going to love it, and when I drank it, I was like, holy crap, this is a good beer, and, I really don't say that very often. I mean, this is kind of weird because maybe I'm just into that type of beer now, but when Brewdog put out Elvis Juice, it was like their New England, it's a New England, right?
Yeah.
And it has grapefruit in it, I think, or some type of citrus fruit. I thought that beer was phenomenal too. So adding the adjuncts, maybe
What about milkshake IPAs?
isn't going to be the worst.
I think we're already over the milkshake / smoothie IPA.
Over? No, I think
thought
we're
they were
near
just starting.
Yeah, I think we're near the we're getting close to the precipice of how far it's going to go. I think the New England IPA is just such an anomaly in regards to how big it exploded, how big it has become, and where everyone's gone, that we'll never see a trend like that again in beer.
I disagree. I think the seltzer waters are bigger bubbles.
There's a seltzer beer on in a couple of bars
No,
right
you're
now.
muted.
I think we're definitely just getting over that bump.
I only saw one seltzer beer, and it's the only one that I've seen is I think it's on at One Eyed Betty's and Hopcat, and that's the only one.
I don't even know if I can talk to you because am I back in action?
Yeah, you're back in action. You should use your headphones. You would know that.
You were just banned for 10 seconds. That's all.
I was in the timeout pool.
So
My thought is, I think that every style ebbs and flows. West Coast IPAs, they all came in, a couple stuck, and then most of them went back. I think the same thing's going to happen with your hazy IPAs. There's, the whole wave comes in, a couple of stick on taps. What do you think besides M43 would be the one or two that you would keep on tap?
Deflowered.
I was going to say.
Is this is drafting table, right?
Witch's Hat.
Witch's Hat.
South
on this
Lion.
one, yep.
Yeah, this is, a bit different than M43 is, but definitely exceptional for the style. Sometimes we look at those draft lists when we're setting up local 30s trying to figure out, what we put on for each style. This one definitely pops up, more often than not.
Nauticop was really good.
Which one? There's like 5 of them.
The second?
No, the second was the bad one.
Second.
It's the
Okay,
first
the
or third?
third?
It might have been
Yeah, the third.
The third one that tastes like straight up Sunny D.
So good.
Sunny D, that sounds great.
I love Sunny D.
So, the fun question we always ask.
Milkshake Glitter IPA.
Milkshake Glitter New England style IPA.
It's coming.
That just
Lactose,
sounds like something
haze,
a stripper would have.
With
Glitter.
with Oreo cookies.
Yeah, that's just, we can just rename
Glitter
the whole style
milkshake.
stripper IPA.
The stripper IPA. Glitter milkshake, orange juice IPA.
with it.
I think it's, stripper IPA. So, the funny question sometimes you ask is, if you had this beer in your fridge and a friend came over and cracked it and just drank it nonchalantly, and you had to hit this guy because he stole that last beer, what would that beer be for you?
I've had this happen before.
Oh.
But it was so many years ago. I can't remember what it was. But
Busch Light.
but man, I was so mad about it. But thinking about my cellar right now, I still have a few beers down there for my trip to Belgium. Why am I brain farting so bad today? It's the microphone. in
Thomas
front of
Hardy,
me.
1982.
No, definitely not that one. What's the?
Are you saying that if you had one bottle of that in your fridge and I came over and I drank it before you got to drink it?
With a straw.
Well, I mean, I don't have the bottle yet, but yeah, absolutely, I would be really mad about that one. The one bottle that I actually have that I'd be mad about is I have some West Valletta and 12s still. So if someone came over the house, popped into my cellar and drank one of my Westy 12s, that I got when I was down in Belgium, I'd be a little upset about that. I wouldn't kill anybody, but I'd reach for your wallet at least.
The beer's okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's a Trappist, but it's hard to get your hands on it.
Have you been to the Belgian Beer Fest at Ashley's?
I've never actually been out there. I really would like to go though.
So it's not a tokened event. It's ticketed. You go in and you drink whatever the hell you want.
Mm-hmm.
There is a VIP section that you can spend on a very, very, very rare Belgian beer if you want. But the rest of the beers itself, You can go in there if you're a Belgian fan. I know Ange is. I know she loves that Belgian yeast. Any double, any triple Flanders Red, Ode Brune, anything like that you're gonna get. You're gonna have 80 beers to choose from, and you're gonna be in heaven.
Listen, I've had
Okay, I'll listen.
I've had my fill of Belgian beers. So we spent 10 days in Belgium, right? We went there, we drank some Belgian beer, and then we ate some Belgian food, and then we drank more Belgian beer and more Belgian beer and more Belgian beer. We went to this Belgian beer fest. We were probably there for about 3 days. I love Belgian beers, but we were so sick of like sour beers and Belgian yeast in every single style. And then all of a sudden,
Welcome to my life.
you know, we saw this glow, you know, come down, like this godlike glow on this tap handle, and we couldn't believe our eyes. But in the middle of Belgium, at this Belgian beer
Bud
festival,
Light.
a tap of West Coast IPA from Green Flash was there, and everybody
Wow.
from Hopcat ran over
Full
and
circle.
and we quenched our, you know, taste buds off of the, you know, the Belgian yeast.
This
and
sounds like the perfect children's story. I hope you get this published.
no, it was really good. And then, you know, come to find out, like they were, I can't remember how it exactly worked out, but St. Fulian was basically contract brewing for them, the West Coast IPA, because I think they're shipping it over there at first, and then it was kind of like, you know, a quality issue, and then they said, well, we'll just have St. Fulian brew it for us, and then they were brewing, and the ingredients were different than the American ones, and it didn't taste the same. So eventually what they did is Green Flash would ship their own ingredients over there, have St. Fulian brew the beer. That way it would be like, you know, authentic and, you know, American. And now that I'm thinking about it, man, that must have been expensive.
Yeah, no
maybe,
kidding.
maybe that's why
what-
they went out. I don't know.
Oh, man.
So, Hopcat, you guys are located all over. Obviously, you represent Royal Oak. You represent all over. Are you guys open 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Full food menu?
Full food menu from open to close.
From open to close. What time do you typically close?
Royal Oak closes at 12 o'clock from Monday until Thursday, and then, I'm sorry, Sunday until Thursday. 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Detroit, I think, is 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and then 2 a.m. on the weekends.
What's the Midtown crowd versus the Royal Oak crowd?
Amazing.
Yuppies.
You like Midtown or you like Royal Oak?
I live in Detroit, so I'm impartial to this
I live
question,
in
but I
Detroit,
think
too.
I think generally the Detroit sees the beer drinking crowd. We see this, you know, Royal Oak nightlife crowd a lot.
You saying there's a big
Dippers and the
difference?
too much gel in their hair and the hey,
No,
what's
no,
going
no,
on?
no,
You get a lot of
not at
people
all.
asking for Bud Light and Budweiser.
I think we see the nerdier crowd in Detroit.
Nerdier crowd. Oh, like the beer
We're beer
nerd.
nerds. We're not snobs, you know. So
I like that. That's better.
we're the nerdier crowd.
I like that.
and I think we see the nerdier crowd in Detroit personally.
So, if you had a magic ball and you're able to look into this magic ball and you're like, what is the brewery to pull off the next, we'll say, Old Nation?
Shit.
Exploding that big.
Tall grass.
Yeah, you're done.
Bam.
You're done.
What would be the brewery you think in Michigan that could repeat the Old Nation, the hype,
The hype.
Because I mean, you gotta have that. You can't do just one good beer. Because Old Nation was M43, and that was a continuously produced beer, like not a
Still-
once
still
release.
is.
Still is. Yes.
Still is.
Not like a once release, but. What brewery? No, you're muted. I don't care. You're done. You know what? I'm gonna even in case I accidentally unmute you. You're muted.
You got one, Jay? You thinking of somebody?
Who do you, like who do you see or who do you want even? Like who do you love so much that you just want to see them succeed?
The next breakthrough brewery.
I think they've already broken through, and I think they already do amazing things. But Witch's Hat,
Witch's
I would
Hat,
say.
okay.
I had
I'd
a
say.
feeling you were gonna say that.
I-
I don't know if it's because of the release tomorrow or.
Are they doing a release? I did not
It's
know.
Tomorrow's tracks.
Well, it sounds like they need a
tomorrow's
good social media. First of all, let's time out real quick because I'm going to tell something to shock you all, and I'll even unmute Matt a little. I had my first ever, I believe, what was the variants at Summer Beer Fest? Was it Night Fury? I think it was Night Fury. They had the variants. I hate pepper beer. I hate anything spicy.
You about to say yeah, spicy.
And their Ghost Pepper Night Fury was on point.
Really?
Not hot, no heat. Like you got that like, oh, here's the flavor of a ghost pepper, not the heat of it. Their coconut one that they had, which I love coconut, was god awful.
I
Sticking with no
disagree.
rules on the coconut.
Yeah, you like the coconut one at
I
the
did,
the
yeah.
Summer Fear Fest?
Yep.
Do you have taste buds?
Yeah, actually, females have better taste buds than males.
That's
so
true.
Dang,
I love
dang.
coconut, and I'm sorry, I hate coconut and everything except for beer.
But she smokes cigars every day, so
I love cigars, so
Are you kidding me right now?
I was saying, I
You
don't
think
she
these pearly
smoked a
whites are
thing in her
smoking?
life.
Listen, here's my piece on.
So you
Witch's
got
Hat.
Witch's Hat.
They nail every style. It doesn't matter what they do. Everything I've had from them style wise has been great.
I think Witch's Hat is a good call. I'd really like to see Drafting Table blow up better.
Them too, yep.
Their beer is super excellent.
Ellison.
I'm a little partial more towards my neck of the woods, but I definitely have to say I think Tapestry Brewing in Bridgman is definitely super underrated. All their beer to me is super, super solid, and they just don't have that. That one, exploding beer that happens, that Old Nation type thing. And with that being said, I'm gonna just say cider and mead. My number one that I think is gonna pop really, even though it's cider and mead, is Cellarman's.
Cellarman.
Yep.
They are definitely friends of the show.
And they're doing beer too, right?
They actually do beer. Their beer isn't necessarily their specialty. I love them, but being honest, their Thrasher. There you go, and the Toffel, the Thrasher and the Toffel, and that summer stout. All three beers that they had at the Summerfest, people loved. You guys open up one more can, and my glass is empty, so we're gonna need to pass this over there to get it filled.
Yes, it's deflowered. It's an IPA.
Okay, let's just give me a half pour. There's a little
It's really great though.
Can I give you the actual?
No,
the
I
right
mean,
answer?
but Adam's right though. Cellarman's.
Nice.
I just did a cider dinner this week, and it was not a gluten-free dinner. It was just ciders with food.
Did it go over well?
We didn't sell a ton of tickets, but it went over really
So
well.
you ready for a gluten-free dinner that has a beer pairing that goes with everything?
Yeah, we can do that.
Brewery Becker. They deglutenize every single one of their beers. So technically, legally, they can't say gluten-free, but the parts per million of gluten or whatever is so small that it's not
Nobody can.
celiac.
Nobody can. I mean, even if like New Belgium's, the Gluttony, it all just says gluten removed because there's no like true
So
process.
every single beer in Brewery Becker's arsenal is deglutenized, no matter what.
Can I tell you the right answer for the next brewery to blow up?
Okay. Sorry. Hold on.
He got unmuted. He's ready.
Hold on.
Let's hear this.
So mute.
All right, it's actually going to be Brewery of Avant. I know that they've.
Really?
See what's.
I wanted
See,
to say that, but
they have they have infrastructure, they have distribution, but what they don't have is that beer like an M43
But
that
they
everyone's
do.
chasing. No, but
They brewed some phenomenal.
They do.
Hazy
No, they brew
IPAs
really
this
good-
summer. They were just super small batch. It was the Rituals. It
But they-
was so bomb.
Their Plan to
brew
Be
good beer,
series
but
is
they
amazing.
but they have the infrastructure, unlike Becker and Cellarman's and whatever you said. Because
Cellarman's has the ability to increase.
What I'm
though,
saying is,
so big.
Vivant has the name, the ability to say, if they hit that lightning in a bottle like M43 did, they could go from like the ninth or eighth biggest brewery to like number 4
I don't
overnight.
think
Like
Vivant's
that.
that high.
Do you know why I think that you're at least partially right with Vivant?
Because I
Is
look this beautiful.
It's
right?
because they do super good beer, but they're one of the few places that aren't overextending themselves in any manner. They kind of are still in that like
I agree with that.
we brew for us,
Turtle in the
type
shell.
of thing.
Turtle in the shell.
They do an amazing food menu too,
Yeah, that's true too.
and they're sustainable.
One
Yeah.
of
Get
so
behind that.
Yeah, they're
so
like one of the only
Vivant,
Michigan
as
B
well
Corps.
as you mentioned, Tapestry are two of the only places I've ever been to where I've tipped waiter or waitresses or waiters in beer. Because I had just came back from Three Floyds and I had 2-day-old zombie dust. And I literally said, I can give you 20% or 2 bottles of 2-day-old zombie
And they
dust.
took it, huh?
They all took zombie dust. Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
People will eat that shit up.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
I lost a bet to my regional manager, not you, but I had to go buy him Gumball Head and Zombie Dust.
I love
That was
Gumball
it.
Head.
That was
Good beer.
Yeah.
Gumball Head's amazing.
Very good.
So that's going to do it for us, episode 143. Hopcat, Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
We
Yeah, thank you
appreciate
for
the
having-
conversation. We appreciate your outlook. Obviously, you guys bring us definitely a different outlook because you are on the bar scene. You are on the purchaser scene, not
The
necessarily
front line.
These are like
brewery
my
scene.
people.
They're Angie's people. That's going to do it. Don't forget to check out all of our sponsors, North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, Brown Iron Brewhouse in Washington Township, as well as Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills. Guys, we're hosting a beer fest over at Jimmy John's Field. Go check it out.
October
It's the Jimmy
13th.
John's Beer Fest.
I'll be wearing
October
my
13th.
No, you won't be.
Beavers jersey
Please
that
don't.
day.
Please don't. Please don't.
It's the baseball team over there. Don't forget
Teams,
again,
plural.
check out the Audible that we are being sponsored this month by Audible. Matt, did you have something, or Nick, or are you kind of just?
Well, if this gets posted before Saturday, I'll
It
be
won't
at-
get posted before
I know, but I'm just
Saturday.
gonna throw it out there. I will be at Cider Days
All
tomorrow.
right, Nick will be at Saturdays if you find them.
We'll talk about
high
it.
five them.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a football jersey of some sort.
All right.
He's a little fella.
You know, you
I'm
have
a
a
little
better
guy.
you have a better on draft shirt, but sure, wear a football jersey.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear
Thanks,
I'll
Nick.
wear my Hamilton Tiger Cats jersey. He mutes me. You're a jerk, dude.
You can
That's
be
gonna-
heard from the next studio.
Guys, we appreciate you all joining us again. Episode 143. We've been doing this for almost 3 full years. We've got our 3-year anniversary coming up soon. We're going to be doing something fun for that.
Before my wedding.
Stay tuned. Nick, you're still muted. And no matter
care.
what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Have
Better
a
on
good
draft.
night. Peace.